first presenter going up today is going to be Brian Grenier, and he is going to be doing on some tricks that you didn't know. Let me see if I get this right here. While he sets up, I didn't know you could lesser known tech tricks, and he has promised that they're all going to be clean tech tricks. So. Now, just so you in the audience know that we actually have here, look at this, because we're like completely wired. We have a timer for all of our speakers here. So, and this is actually a cool thing that you could use in your class to tell your kids to shut up after 5 minutes or something. So, anyway, let's give it up for our first speaker. Oh wait, they're trying to get your attention over here. Do you want them? No, you don't want them. No, over here. Oh. Hi, how are you, Linda? Brian!
Good morning, I'm Brian Grenier. I work with the Franklin feeder pattern mostly, so I have a number of schools out on the west side. I work with a couple out here in the northeast as well. I picked up Bassett and Clendenin recently. Just show of hands, where are my elementary school teachers? Okay, middle school, high school? Okay, so we got pretty much everybody represented here today. Nothing better than having to follow Will Richardson to give your talk. I'm just glad Tim didn't pick like a Sir Ken Robinson or something this morning. And I'm going to make a confession right off the bat. How many people are fans of TED Talks? You guys watch them quite often? David Pogue, who's a writer for the Wall Street Journal and a number of other, or New York Times, not Wall Street Journal, did a talk in April. It was in February. It was released in April, where he did this quick little 10-minute talk about 10 time-saving tips. So I kind of stole his idea. And he had some neat things. It was things that you assume people know about, but not necessarily everybody knew about. So he was showing things like on your cell phones. If you just press the call button, it'll automatically redial your last number. Did you guys all know that? Or if you're on the internet here, you know, instead of like scrolling down the page or grabbing this sidebar over here, on any browser you can just use the space bar. I guess I got to click in there. Use the space bar and that'll take you down a page at a time. And if you hold shift down, that'll bring you up a page. So I'm just doing shift and space bar. So I watched this and I decided to kind of model mine after what David Pogue did. And I want to start off this morning just showing some things in Google, because I'm sure a lot of you use Google every day. And there may be some things that you know or don't know about how to search Google. So, elementary teachers, where are you? All right, so in 4th grade, I was with a 4th grade class about a month ago, and I think they do a research project on like Indian tribes of Texas. And I was in the lab with this group of students, and they would go to Google and they would just type in Indians and hit return and end up with about 129 million results, of which the entire first and second page deals with the Cleveland Indians, the baseball team. So if I'm searching for, let's say, Indians in this case, and I want to get rid of all those baseball entries, all I need to do is just modify my search a little bit. I'll do Indians, and then I'll do a minus sign and type in baseball. So my search query will now be Indians minus that baseball term, with the exception of Google News. So now I've eliminated quite a bit of that extraneous information that may be getting in the way of our, effective results for our students. Another trick here is, and I'm just going to use Indians again. If I just type in Indians, I'm leaving out quite a few other terms that are similar to Indians. So I could be looking, I'm leaving out like a search for First Peoples or a search for Native Americans. In Google, if you put a tilde, that little squiggly, looks like a squiggly minus sign. If I put a tilde right in front of the word Indians, Google will know to search for Indians and anything that is similar to Indians. Or it could be, you know, babies, you know, squiggly or tilde babies. I'll get babies and newborns and infants and prenatal and what have you. So a minus sign to get rid of stuff, a tilde sign to find synonyms. Another lesser known Google trick is what's called a wild card. So let's say you don't know, was it the I had a dream speech or was it the I have a dream speech? In Google, you can just use a star. Oop. I can just put a star in, and it'll fill in the blank. It has some you know, to run its algorithm, and it'll fill in the blank. So a star is kind of just what's called a wild card within Google. Another question I get, and I get this one quite a bit, it comes from teachers who are looking for smartboard lessons. So, you know, and I usually direct them either to like the Smart Tech if they want to find the pre-built lessons on the Smart Tech website. But in Google, you can also do what's called a file type search. Okay, so let's say let's just do an example here. Let's say we're doing a lesson on population. I can do my search for population and then file type, there we go, colon, and I could do, let's say, XLS. If I was looking for maybe a spreadsheet, if I was looking for an Excel document, I could use XLS. I could do file type DOC, and this will pull up all, and you can see on the results here, these are all Word documents. I could do PDF if I was looking for Adobe Acrobat files. Or in the case of a smartboard, let's say we're doing a lesson on, let's say, the water cycle. File type, colon, you would do a search for SWF, which is a flash file. And all of these, and I can't guarantee that they're all great, some of them are going to be better than others, but if I select one, these should all be interactive in some sort. They look great on a smartboard. A lot of them are like games where students can go up and they can click on it. So you can see, you know, how this would look on a smartboard. So a file type search. Here's an interesting thing in Google. Let's do a search. Now this you have to have an account in Google. How many of you have a Google account? Okay, so this will work great for you. If you just go to Google, log in, up at the top there's a More button up here. If I click on More, my drop down opens up. I'm going to come down to Even More, and I'm going to do what's called a custom search. So it's down, I think I passed it, specialized search. In this section right here, I have what's called a custom search in here. And what I can do is I can build my own search engine for my students or for my class or for whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Custom Search. And I will add a search engine here. And we'll say, okay, what sites do you want to include in this? So I was a history teacher. Let's say I want the students to only be able to search at the Library of Congress. So I'm going to put loc.gov. And we'll do the New York Times so they can search the New York Times archive. So I'm going to limit my searches to those particular sites, to those two sites within the custom search. I come down, right now the search engine name is loc.gov down here, but I can change the name, so I could call this, I'm just going to call it research for right now. And I'll click on Create. And what it will do is it will create a customized search engine for me or for my students. And I can do one of two things here. I can just go to the public URL. So I could give students this address up here. I can make it into a tiny URL. And students can come in here and let's say they're doing some research on, let's say, Babe Ruth. So they can type in Babe Ruth, click on the search button, and you can see all my results are limited to the New York Times, New York Times, New York Times. There's a lot of New York Times here. And I'm sure as I go deeper and deeper into this, I'll get to the Library of Congress results. So I've limited, so think about that maybe for when you're having them research projects for a science fair. and you want to have them to have the ability to search for their topic, but you want to limit them to, certain sites. The other thing you can do with this custom search is I went to the public URL, but I could also get a code here, and I could simply copy and paste this code and place it like into my Weebly page or my classroom web page. So in my classroom website, I have that search box embedded directly in there. So that's a neat little trick with Google. So I was a high school social studies teacher. And one of the biggest issues I had, and this was a number of years ago, were students that plagiarized their work. And I'm sure since I've been out of the classroom, students no longer plagiarize. I contend, though, that we teach them to do that from a very young age. Starting in kindergarten, we teach our students to plagiarize. And we make it okay for them because I see this. I see the kindergarten teachers doing, or first grade teachers doing a simple little report on, their favorite animal, and they'll send the students to Google Images, and they'll say, okay, just pick a barn owl, just open an image and copy and paste that, without any regard to the fact that that image may have a copyright placed on it, without any regard to the fact that there's no bibliography or works cited in the document, what have you. So we teach that at a very young age, and then we teach them how to copy and paste, and then they get into high school and they just do the whole paper that way. So the way copyright works, especially on images, is once you take a picture, that image is essentially copyrighted. So all those pictures that you have on your phones or on your cameras, those are copyrighted images. You essentially own the copyright to that. There is a way that people like you and I can make those available to the general public through something called Creative Commons licensing. And basically, just real quick, Creative Commons allows you to say, it's okay for you to use my images. So what I recommend to teachers is if you're having students search Google, there is a way that you can search for images that you can legally use. And the way you do that, instead of just doing a Google search, you come over here and you click on the gear here, and it'll open up some advanced search settings. And at the very bottom of advanced search, you'll see a drop-down box for usage type. And if I click on that, and I say, I'm going to pick images that I'm free to use or share, and I click on my search now, all of these images you have permission to use. And I can, I'll just click on one to show you. But if I scroll down here, somewhere on this page, there's the Creative Commons license right here. Okay, so this license says anyone can use this picture, you can share it, you can make changes to it, as long as you attribute the photographer. So let's say we're doing let's stick with our history, let's say we're doing something on the Boston Tea Party. Let's go Boston Tea Party. I end up with 74 million results. Now, a lot of these might be at a higher reading level than is useful for our, some of our younger kids or maybe some of our struggling learners. If I come into search tools here, and I just click on search tools, I'll get a little bar that opens up, and right in the middle of it says all results. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to select reading level. And once I select reading level, I'm going to get a little bar graph that shows me, okay, well, 52% of these pages are at a basic reading level, intermediate, and advanced. And I can click on any one of these selections here. I'll just pick basic, and it will filter out all those remaining. And what I end up with is what Google has determined are websites that are written at a basic level. So they've done their algorithm, and they've determined that, let's just open this WebQuest one. But it's written in at that basic level. So that's a real helpful tool for our students as well. Last thing I want to show you in Google here. I'm going to go google.com. Oh, not Googler. Is something called Google Alerts. How many people are familiar with Google Alerts? A couple of you are. Okay, so this is back in more again. I'm going to go more and down to even more. Back down in that same section, specialized search, and I'm going to do what's called a Google Alert. What Google Alert allows me to do is it allows me to put in a search query. So I could put in, let's say, Franklin High School. And I would probably do El Paso, because there's probably other Franklin High Schools. So I'm going to do Franklin High School, El Paso, Texas. I'll do search results or everything, or I could choose news, video, yada, yada, yada. And I'll create an alert. And basically what this will do is this will, anytime anything is posted up online about Franklin High School, it'll come to my mailbox. It'll generate an email, and the way I have this set up is it'll send it once a day to me. And you can kind of get a preview over here of the types of results that you'll get. I recommend that everybody set up a Google Alert with your own name in there, so that anytime anything about you is put up online, you automatically get an email about that. Or if you're doing some sort of current events project, maybe you're following the situation in Syria right now. Thank you. I was going to say Lebanon. Syria right now. You could put in Syria in here, and anytime a news article or a web page goes up about Syria, you're going to get a Google alert about that. All right, so I'm going to show you two more things. This is kind of a neat thing. It's kind of at least I think it's neat. You guys ever have a bunch of windows open and you want to go through and you want to shut everything down except for one window? Yep. You could, now I just got too many things open. You could just come up here and you could click the minus sign, right, and go window by window by window. You guys know about the Shake It feature in Windows 7? Okay, so you all have Windows 7, right? So let's say I just wanted this image open. All I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the bar up here, I'm going to shake it a little bit, and it closes everything except for that one window. Oh, that's the one that got all the oohs and ahs. All right, last one. So I'm just about out of time here. Is in your Zimbra email. One of my favorite things to do is to show teachers how to set up Zimbra on their iPads, right? And what I like about it is I get to see how many emails they haven't read, and I think the record has been like 5,300. Yeah. So in Zimbra, I thought I had this bookmarked. In Zimbra, if you want to filter out, so I've just been kind of saving some emails. I have 24 unread in my inbox and another 28 in a folder. If I want to filter out so just my unread emails show up, right up here in the search box, if I type in is, unread, oops, hit enter, that filters out everything except for my unread emails, and I can go through and just check my unread emails. So hopefully you picked up something. I'm 2 minutes ahead of time. Enjoy the rest of the day. I know there's going to be some great talks today, so thank you.